Good morning, everybody. Yes, the most observant of you might have noticed I'm not really on a bike, so this is a different type of motorbike vlog. There's a reason for that. As some of you may already know, the bike was stolen last weekend on Saturday. I'm still waiting for the insurance to sort their shit out so I can get a new one back on the road. But I wanted to talk about bike security. The reason I want to go into bike security is mainly because my bike, when it was stolen, was actually parked in probably one of the most secure compounds you could think of, or you would think it was secure. Certainly around Manchester anyway. It was protected all the way around the building, all the way around the building and the car park, around the full compound, by a 6-foot steel fence with 2 accesses, one for vehicles and one for pedestrians. Both of those, you needed a electronic pass to get through those gates. So first of all, they must have been pretty determined to actually get at the bike, because they would have had to climb over to get there, to get in there. There was also CCTV and also a security guard inside the building. To me, that sounds pretty secure, plus the steering lock on the bike itself. So you'd think that was pretty safe. However, apparently not. So all I want to say to people is, you know, even if you think your bike is somewhere where nobody's going to get at it, lock it anyway. Get a chain on it, get a disc lock on it, get whatever you can on it. Anything at all, the more the better. Because if they want that bike, they'll take that bike, simple as that. In future, when I park down at work, I obviously will be using a disc lock as well, just for that little bit of extra peace of mind. The bike was stolen overnight. It was parked in Works car park, stolen overnight. Now, the only thing that strikes me about this is, yes, like I said, there is CCTV there. It sort of covers the front of the car park. As you drive into the car park, the cameras are watching you. As you drive out the car park, the cameras are watching you. But the bikes at work are told to park around the side of the building. That's where we're told to park. So there's 3 or 4 of us on bikes at work, and we all park together, just sort of around the corner. Still on the car park, but just a tiny bit out of the way. That isn't covered by the CCTV, it turns out. Although I've been assured that it may now well be in the future, so I'll be looking out for that. And what gets me even more is it strikes me that they knew their way around that compound. They knew how to avoid the CCTV. They knew how to avoid the security guard that was sitting in the reception area. They knew they couldn't bring it down the front of the building, because the CCTV would have caught them. The security guard probably would have seen that, you know, the gate opening, things like that. And they had to go through the pedestrian gate. That means walking the full way around the back of the building, which turns out where the CCTV isn't covering for some reason, and going out the pedestrian gate. Now at first I did wonder how the hell did they get out of that gate without causing any damage. Somebody suggested they may have even lifted the bike over if there was a group of them, which I thought was a bit, nah. You know, it's only a small bike, but it's not, you know, they're not light. It's not like a push bike. You can't just throw it over. But it turns out, for fire regulations, on the pedestrian exit on the inside of the car park, so once you're inside, there is a emergency green boxing for when there's a fire, so you can press the button to actually open that pedestrian gate if you haven't got a pass, just in case you're trapped in there, that kind of thing. Leading on from that suggests to me, and I don't like saying this, but it suggests to me that somebody who knows the layout of that car park, who knows the accesses, things like that, so somebody that either works there or that works there and has passed that information on to somebody else. I don't like thinking that, but it's the only other way I can think of it actually being done without being seen at all. Nothing was seen, nothing was heard. The last time the bike was seen was around midnight, still parked there, and then after that there's nothing till I went back to the bike in the morning to obviously go home, and it wasn't there. Insurance wise, yeah, they will sort it out. I am going to lose some money. I have to pay £150 excess, plus I have to pay off the remainder of the policy what was left on that bike for the remainder of the year. So there's 9 months, 9 payments left, which totals about £400 in payments. It's high still because it was still my first year riding. In total, I'm going to lose somewhere in the region of £550–600. Plus the insurance themselves, you know, you can understand when they eventually come back with this value. I've had to send all my documents away and keys away and things like that. When they eventually come back with this valuation for the bike, it's going to be lower than what I would say it actually is. That's just the way insurance works. So to get another bike in the same condition that mine was, it was perfect condition, little over 2,000 miles, I'm probably going to have to add some more money towards that as well. I don't particularly mind doing that. I'd prefer not to, but I don't want to be riding around on a bike that I don't really trust ain't going to fall to bits, if you know what I mean. So it is just a quick one, guys, just to say, make sure those bikes are locked up. Now is the season for bike thieves to be out and about. It's a shame it's happened when it's happened, because this weekend is going to be a massive weekend for bikes around my area. First of all, we are back into the saddle tomorrow, or it may even be today, depending when this gets released, which I was really looking forward to. That's a full day's entertainment, blind bands, bikes, stalls, things like that, up in Leetown near Preston. Loads of bikes, going to be loads of fun, but I'm missing that now because I've got no other transport apart from the bike. And then obviously the massive one, I'm expecting about 2,000 bikes to do the Save Matlock Bath ride. Now that is going to be a one-off. Yeah, Matlock has always been associated with bikes for as long as I can remember. I can remember walking down Matlock Bath, holding my mum's hand, looking at all the bikes, like sort of gobsmacked at these machines and these men in the leathers. They were like gods at the time, you know what I mean. And my mum recalling motorbike stories from her younger days. So yeah, so I'm going to miss that, and I really wanted to do that one, so that's a bit of a shame, because the insurance have dragged their feet. I couldn't report it on the Saturday when I actually noticed the bike was missing, because apparently they don't do new claims on Saturday. They only have like the emergency breakdown recovery line open. So I had to wait till the Monday to report it. Reported it on the Monday. Probably took about 3/4 an hour to go through it all, give them the crime reference number, things like that. Phoned back on the Tuesday because I hadn't had a message on my phone, or I hadn't had an email or anything like that saying what's happening. Had to do the whole process all over again, because they said, well, whoever you spoke to must have been about our team, and it hasn't actually been reported to us. Now I know it has, because I've had a personal call back. I've been asked to send the documents in, which I have done. But it's now Friday, so the weekend is gone. I can't, there's no way I'm going to be able to do that. But lock them up, guys. Make sure that even if you think it's safe, at least have a minimum of a disc lock on there as well. Yeah, if you can get extra security on there, ground anchors, chains, whatever, get it on there, get it done. Just be safe. Thanks for listening, and ride safe.